On October 22nd, the Board of Supervisors approved a new county ordinance to legalize the cultivation of commercial cannabis in Calaveras County. This is a series of interviews to introduce you to some of the farmers who successfully complied with the urgency ordinance and will now be eligible to apply for new permits under the permanent ordinance.
Hello, my name is Burch Shufeldt. I've been a Calaveras County resident since 2006 and moved here with my then girlfriend, who's now been my wife for 6 years. And we have a 4-year-old and a 6-month-old who we love to death. So been in the county for 13 years and I've been involved in the cannabis industry for the entire time, providing services to various local patients, as well as helping people out of the area and other collectives by providing them the services that we then started to, that led us into registering under the UO when the county decided to regulate. And that was the beginning of an extremely difficult time in our lives. We had a 6-month-old child at that point, and the county had just told us to go out of business or invest massively in creating a new and different business in the same industry. So we jumped headlong in and bought a beautiful property that was more in line with what the county wanted. It's an agriculturally zoned property and has multiple different forms of agriculture going on it. We do cows, vegetables, pigs, and cannabis. But not cannabis for the last 2 years because of the ban. And we're really looking forward to the regulations that the board just passed, because the last 2 years have been extremely difficult on the heels of the difficulty of all the required time and investment for the urgency ordinance that predated the ban. So I'll talk a little bit about the urgency ordinance, I think. We have a big parcel, we have multiple parcels on a big ranch out here, and tried to tuck away some canopy space onto this parcel, and without trying to affect our neighbors, and I think we were able to do that pretty well. And as far as I know, we've never had any complaints about what we were doing here, and all the neighbors that I know, there's 20 of them, have never expressed any concerns with what we're up to out here, and actually expressed a lot of concern when the ban went into effect. But there's nothing anyone can do about it. So here we are. It's an fast-changing marketplace now with legalization, and it's what we left during ramp-up of regulations on the state level, and now we're going to try and get back in on a fully developed state-regulated program, which is expensive and somewhat onerous, and definitely more strict than what the urgency ordinance required of us when we went out of business. So we're a little worried about the financial burden that it's going to impose. Just to, I think it's more than $50,000 between the county and the state just to sign up to get back into business and start trying to earn money to support my family. And that is terrifying, and not completely sure how we're going to do it, because under the urgency ordinance we were successful, and that was great, and we had some upward mobility even, I would say, for ourselves, but that was all taken away with our job. And we had savings, but that's how we've survived for the last 2 years, is spending down our savings. And it's unclear whether we have enough money to get going again, at least at the scale that we were, if at all. And that's what keeps my wife up at night. But I have the blind faith that this is what we do, and this is what we signed up for, and the ban was just a hiccup that should never have happened and shouldn't have lasted for 2 years. But we'll get back into it this 3rd year, and and we'll figure out a way to deal with the compliance costs, and then it's farming, so we can keep our fingers crossed and hope that the nature doesn't completely ruin us for the season that we really need next year. But that's the nature of farming, and that's, you know, something that we definitely knew we signed up for. It's something you can't control, much like the government. And we would, you know, so I look forward to it. And it really is, the last 2 years have been extremely difficult and depressing. And, you know, you sometimes wonder what you're fighting for, trying to get these regulations back just so that I can pay the same county that took my job a bunch of money to give me my job back again. And I try not to be bitter about it. and yeah, we look forward to trying to get back into the marketplace, and we're gonna do it. And I'm really thankful that we get back to do it, because I'm not sure, as far as owning my own business in this county, this is the one that is gonna be able to provide the best quality of life for my family. It lets me do what I love doing, being outside, farming, playing with the dirt, and playing with plants that grow like no other plant. And it fulfills a need for, you know, it fulfills a need for patients that desperately need it. And at this point, I'm from Murphy's. It fulfills a need for grown-ups that want it. And I'm completely okay with that. That's the state law. So, you know, I love helping people. And if it's helping people with pain, or if it's helping people relax on Friday night, I really look forward to being able to help people with that. And I had 6 employees when the ban went into effect, and they've all scattered into the wind at this point. And not sure if I'll get all those boys back. They were all from Calaveras. Most of them had grown up here, lived here longer than me. And I enjoyed that aspect of being able to give these guys and girls jobs in their community that they didn't have a chance to have a job quite like that here. You know, my wife started off when when our business was smaller. She worked in a tasting room in Murphy's, and I'm pretty sure those are minimum wage jobs. And people throughout the county like to kind of point to Murphy's as the economic engine, where there's lots of hustle and bustle and a lot of jobs, but those are service industry jobs that don't pay a whole lot. And you know, thankfully with her education, she was able to move up in the winery world, and now is, you know, a bookkeeper that pays better. But most people were here suffering through, they either had part-time jobs doing construction, being contractors, but that, with the downturn, a lot of them were real happy that we were able to give them a job back in 2016 that was on the books and, you know, paid into their Social Security, if that's still around. And yeah, and they, you know, we would pay between $20 and $35 an hour to everyone that worked on our farm. And I don't know of a lot of, you know, people working in vineyards don't get paid that. People owning the vineyards don't always get paid that. And it was really good for these guys. And they, you know, they managed to save some money during the regulations, just like me and my family. Our needs are low, and we were able to be some of the few young people in the world that are putting back savings. That all changed with the ban. I've checking in with my employees and former employees, friends. You know, they had savings too. They were stacking money during the ban, during the regulations, and they were able to enjoy a great quality of life, working hard all day, but, you know, affording meals out in the evenings, and, you know, being able to pay rent and move to better housing situations. I think most of them did that while they worked for us. And but now their savings are gone too. And like I said, you know, our savings have nearly dried up, and we're hoping we have enough to restart the business and make it through a year and earn money again. But yeah, those 6 employees, you know, I won't be able to get them same guys back, and I need to find some more. And I look forward to being able to employ people locally, because a lot of people would go find other jobs in the industry elsewhere, or they switched. You know, I know a lot of firemen. A lot of the guys went on to be firemen, which, let me tell you, that's a much harder job and pays much less. And yeah. So yeah, good paying jobs. We love them. Happy to provide them. I liked having one. My wife liked me having one. It made life easier for her. Our kids certainly have not suffered, but I feel like they could have benefited more from, you know, we instead of spending savings, we would have increased savings, which me and my wife aren't going to spend. They're going to the kids, or they're going to improve the kids' lives with like a house, or we pay rent currently. We probably would own our home if we weren't stuck on the rent treadmill and had no job for the past 2 years, or not relying on a bookkeeper's salary, which required us to spend savings. We have the amount of economic activity. I never would have thought of myself as someone who would have been an economic engine or even contributed to any real economic engine before regulations, and it was a tough choice to make. Like, do we really want to? There was a lot of investment in 2016, and nothing was promised. The county didn't really promise us much. They said we were going to be able to continue operations, and that this was the stepping stone to permanency. But we all see how that was. That it became a ban within 2 years, pulling the rug out from underneath us. But I never would have guessed that, I would have given that much in taxes for the canopies to the county, that I would have paid that much income tax, and personally in my life, and that I would have ever been able to employ 6 people that were paying that much income tax. And and at this point, those employees, especially, all that money has gone back into the local economy because they all still live here, or mostly live here, and none of us have savings anymore. So every bit of work we did here has gone into the local economy at this point. And I know that with the ban, the hardware stores really suffered, and they saw their numbers go down. And I can attest to that. I haven't spent hundreds of thousands of dollars at the hardware store since the ban, but I did before the ban because I needed, that's the business. You got to keep your business going. You got to build it up. You got to get, you got to improve the infrastructure there. And that's what we were doing. And I used to buy my employees lunch every day at the local market or at the taco truck down in Angels. And I know the taco truck, I come by and I buy a couple tacos whenever I can. And I can see that they miss me, and they let me know they're like, when are you coming back for 10 burritos every day? And I tell them, hopefully soon. And yeah.